Isn't it? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Patram puspam phalamto mam yo me bhaktya priyachati. He said, if you offer me with love, with service, with an attitude of service trying to please him, if you offer me even a leaf or fruit or a flower or water, I will accept it. So he's satisfied, easily to satisfy Krishna. Even you're the poorest of people, even you don't have big job, make lots of money or whatever, easily you can develop your loving relationship with God just by giving him a leaf. Especially what leaf? What's his favorite leaf? What's Krishna's favorite leaf? Tulsi. Especially if you give him the tulasi leaf, the holy basil, then he's very satisfied. But even if you give any leaf, ordinary basil, or parsley, or coriander, or lavender, or rosemary, or lemon verbena, or anything, if you give it with a desire to please him, with love, remember that love means the situation when I want to please God's senses. That's the definition of love. Krishnendriya Priti. That I have a desire to please Krishna's senses, Indriya. And the opposite to love is lust or kam. And that's the desire to please our own senses. So still we're being a servant in every situation. Either I'm serving my senses, and that's lust, or I'm serving God's senses, that's love. But service is there in both, in lust or in love, service. But I'm serving my senses, that's lust, or I'm serving God's senses, that's love. So if we try to serve our senses, we end up being frustrated. It's like a blazing fire in the heart, Dusparina and Elena Char. Blazing fire in the heart that's never satisfied, isn't it? No matter how much money I make to please my senses, am I ever satisfied? I met one guy in New Zealand some years ago when I was distributing books, Bhagavad Gitas and things, up in northern New Zealand, Kaitaia. He told me I was earning 100 grand a year, and I was thinking if I earn 200 grand a year, then I'll be happy. So he worked extra hard, made lots of plans and endeavours and everything. Eventually he fulfilled his desire. And he actually got to the point where he had $200,000 he'd made that year. Do you think he was satisfied? Do you think he was happy? He had double the money. Isn't that what modern society tells all of us? If you have money, then you're perfect. That's perfection. You're a siddha. You're a perfect being if you have money. But in actual fact, is that the truth? Do we actually become satisfied and peaceful and happy just by getting more money? In this particular man's case, he told me, after doubling his money, he was double unhappy. He was more unhappy when he had 200,000 than when he had 100,000. Because now he was working so hard. He had no time to enjoy the money. So many tensions, so many anxieties, so many fears, so many frustrations. But that time when he was so frustrated that all of his ambitions and desires to be happy in this world, through, in his case, through making more money, when he was completely frustrated in those desires, then for the first time in his life, being brought up as an atheist, he prayed to God. The first time in his life. He said, God, if you exist, he told me as he was driving his delivery van, because he had a delivery business. He said, God, if you exist, then please help me. Please save me. The very next day, I went to his office with a pile of spiritual books in my arms. And his instinctive reaction was, get lost, no time. So I turned away to walk away, Because this is what happens many times. No time, get lost, everyone's materialistically absorbed in making more money. They've got no time for anything else. But no, I turned away to go, and he said, hang on a minute, come back, tell me what you got there. And then I explained a few things, explaining that we're not the body, that we're the soul within the body, that we get happiness for the soul, and like this kind of thing. I said a few things. He said, okay, I'll take it. And he just threw me a little bit of coins, not much. And I gave him a science of self-realization. The very next morning, my friends, they dropped me off on the street, out of the van. We were all distributing books. So they dropped me off, and then as my friends drove away, and I just had my books, a delivery van drove up. And I could see it was the man that I'd seen the day before, and he was a bit rude to me, but changed his mind and bought a book. I saw it was the same man, and he waved me over and wound down the window, and he said, I'd just like to thank you so much for that book you gave me yesterday. I read 50 pages last night, and it's changed my whole life. And then he told me that story, how he used to earn 100 grand and how he had an ambition to make more money, thinking it would make him more happy, and he got it, and like that, but actually it made him more miserable. And he just was so unhappy, and then he prayed to God. And then he said that's why he changed his mind, because the day before he prayed to God to please help me, and then he thought, well, maybe this monk coming into my door is God sent, so I better, not turn him away. And then he said, I'm so sorry the way I treated you yesterday, and I didn't give you hardly anything for the book, so here, take this. So he gave me a big donation. And then he said, I got a friend, he's really in a lot of stress at the moment, a lot of anxiety. Do you have anything that might help him? I said, sure, here, take the Bhagavad Gita. So I gave him a Bhagavad Gita, and then he gave me another donation, and he was so happy. And he had been driving up and down the main street of that town just hoping to find me. This is a full-on materialist the day before. Full-on materialistic, self-centered, egocentric, just trying to please his own senses, and just reading 50 pages of a book of spiritual knowledge talking about real love, and completely transforming him like that. So what we mostly call love these days is it's just lust. People trying to satisfy their own senses. Even we become a welfare worker, we're doing something for helping sick people or old people or help the animals or the whales or whatever. But why are we doing it? We're just doing it it makes me feel good, isn't it? If we go deep down into why we're doing a particular activity, often it's to make me feel good. Why do I work hard for the wife and the kids and things like that? Because it makes my senses feel good. I feel good that I'm, providing for the wife and the kids and so many things like that, And that, if I please this woman by bringing her money and food and everything like that, then she'll satisfy my senses. So underlying it, there's selfish motivations. So ultimately, all relationships in the material world, basically, it's just self-centered lust. It's all about pleasing our own senses. Love begins when we start to please the senses of the Supreme Being. And without any motivation, material motivation. We're not thinking about anything in return. We're just chanting to please Krishna. We're reading the Bhagavad Gita to please Krishna. We're doing worship in the temple to please Krishna. We're offering the food to please Krishna. It's nothing to do with me. I'm just a servant. And my ambition, my desire is just to please God. Just to please the Lord. And that is the real love. That is perfection of love. At that point, that's the real nature of the soul. That's our eternal nature. Krishnera Nitya Das. Jivira Swarup Hoya Krishnira Nitya Das. At that point, the soul becomes completely happy. Completely, in Sanskrit it's called shanti. Peaceful. Everyone wants peace. But you think we're going to find peace with a life full of lust, of trying to satisfy our own desires? Never. Never any peace. Bhukti, Mukti, Siddhikami, Sakali, Ashanta. Krishna Bhakta Niskama, Ativa, Shanta. That verse is saying the bhukti. Bhukti means a person trying to enjoy in the material world. That's bhukti. Mukti means a person that has a desire to get liberated from this world. Get moksha, mukti. Liberated from the world. I want to get out of this miserable world and become one with everything, merge. And siddhi means a person wanting mystic powers. I want to shrink my body up small, make my body big, make my body light. I want to be able to bring some gold on my hand or some mango from Fiji or something. People have these mystical powers. They're called siddhis. There's 8 cities, Asta cities. But saying all of them, whether you're into material enjoyment, whether you're into material liberation, whether you're into material perfections, all of you guys are never going to be peaceful. The only one that's peaceful, that has the real shanti, is the Krishna Bhakta. It means God's servant. God's servant, Krishna's devotee, is peaceful. Why is he peaceful? Because niskam. He doesn't have any personal desire. Doesn't have any desire, personal desire to fulfill. Doesn't want anything. The only time we can truly be peaceful and happy is when we stop wanting anything. We have no personal desire to fulfill.
Or the opposite.
What's that?
You have such an intense personal desire for service.
Yeah, but that's not material desire.
Absolute desire.
Yeah, that's absolute desire. That desire is pure love.